Okay guys, rain, sleet, or snow, I am back with another crypto video. This story here is a story about Ripple and Celsius. It reads, Ripple is considering buying bankrupt crypto lender Celsius's assets. Ripple is actively seeking to scale the company through merger and acquisition deals, a spokesperson told Reuters. Ripple Labs, the blockchain payments company behind XRP, may be interested in purchasing assets belonging to the insolvent crypto lending company Celsius. A company spokesperson told Reuters that Ripple is quote-unquote interested in learning about Celsius and its assets and whether any could be relevant to our business. When asked whether Ripple planned to wholly acquire Celsius, the spokesperson declined to say. Cel, the native token of the Celsius platform, rose 23% on Wednesday following the news. Celsius froze its users' assets in June due to extreme, quote-unquote, extreme market conditions, followed by a handful of other crypto firms like Voyager and Coinflex. It then hastily paid down its outstanding debts on various DeFi loans, reclaimed its collateral, and filed for bankruptcy a month later. The filings revealed that the lending firm's assets included cash, cryptocurrency, the company's own Celsius tokens, and various digital assets within its custody accounts, loans, and Bitcoin mining businesses. That's going to be relevant later. However, when weighed against the firm's liabilities, the company still logged a $1.19 billion deficit on its balance sheet, and the odds of the company's creditors getting any of their money back look grim. The filings showed that Ripple was not one of Celsius' major creditors. Still, the firm submitted filings seeking representation in the lender's bankruptcy proceedings last week. Ripple did not immediately respond to the crypt's request for further comments on a potential acquisition deal, though a spokesperson at Reuters told that the company is actively looking for M&A opportunities to strategically scale the company. Ripple was valued at $15 billion in January after buying back stock from its Series C raise in December 2019. According to a company report in July, it sold $400 million worth of XRP spanning from April to June, a good deal more than $273.27 million it sold during the prior quarter. So to me, this kind of caught me off guard. This was definitely interesting because I wasn't even slightly considering the possibility of Ripple buying out Celsius. I thought if anybody was to do it, it would probably be, Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, because they're literally just trying to scoop up everything right now. That's why I think it's only a matter of time before they say Sam Bankman-Fried is like the richest person on the planet. But will this be relevant to us? I think so, because like many people have pointed out, I think that Ripple is thinking about, leveraging Celsius's assets and any XRP that Celsius may have in their custody from their customers to as another way to funnel more XRP into ODL. But something that I think a lot of people haven't talked much about is how this could affect Flare. Again, I can't prove this. This is just me going off of a theory. I think this could be very helpful just for the simple fact that if you have, I think that if Ripple was to buy Celsius, I do think for people like me who made the mistake of having my Flare snapshot done on Celsius, I think that Ripple would probably make a greater effort to make sure that Celsius users who had their snapshot done on Celsius, who had their Flare snapshot done on Celsius would actually get their assets. But at the same time, there's no guarantee of that. I don't think that would make a major difference because, again, there's supposed to be a governance vote on the Flare networks, determining whether Flare will redirect a lot of people's Flare from these exchanges like Celsius and redirect it to a private wallet if you want that option. I'm looking forward to that because obviously I'm in favor of that, because I took my assets off of Celsius a while ago. I didn't have a whole lot on there, but I had a few coins on there. But the main thing that bothered me was during the Flare snapshot, I put my XRP on Flare because I said, I figured, first of all, I was busy, which is still no excuse, but that's what this was the logic I was using. It's like, okay, I was busy and I figured that, I could earn some interest on my XRP. At the time they had, 3% APY. I said, okay, I could earn some interest on it real quick, put it on there for the snapshot, take it off. So but the issue came about obviously when it was time for the song when it was time for Songbird. Celsius didn't want to give us any Songbird. They tried to play it off like it wasn't that big of a deal, but they didn't want to give us any Songbird. And then when they finally did, it was way after the fact. There was another airdrop shortly after the Songbird airdrop that I almost missed because Celsius had it locked up. So I had to go out on the open market, buy Celsius, not the Celsius that was airdropped to me, but I had to go buy Celsius just to qualify for the airdrop. And then that Celsius that I bought got dumped on. And of course, nobody's going to hold Celsius accountable because nobody cares. They just going to look and be like, oh, you shouldn't have done it. Well, they shouldn't have tried to block the money that people were entitled to. This is literally money that we were entitled to as investors. We put the money up for XRP. We participated in the Flare snapshot. We were entitled to the Songbird airdrop. A lot of people don't talk about it enough, but the custodian for Celsius is the custodian for Celsius is the company that is tied to Jay Clayton. And I believe, what is their name? I believe their name is not Songbird. What's the name? I think the company is called, because I was just talking about this just the other day. I'm about to look it up right now on the spot. So the company's name was Fireblocks. That company, again, is tied to Jay Clayton, and coincidentally, they blocked a very major airdrop, or they delayed. I can't say fully blocked, but they extremely delayed what I consider a major airdrop that was tied to the XRP community, and not enough people talk about that, and I don't think that was a coincidence. So yeah, this whole situation, obviously I took most of my assets off of Celsius, but before, now that this freezing of people's assets on Celsius happened, it's a little frustrating because of the fact that technically, at least for the time being, my Flare is still supposed to be airdropped to Celsius, which obviously, that's a whole nother headache in itself of, try to see if I'll even be able to get a hold of it and what'll happen. So hopefully Ripple comes in and actually puts us in a position to where we could get our Flare. But again, it's yet to be seen. But that definitely was a very frustrating but valuable lesson about not even wasting time on these different on any never doing a snapshot on an exchange again. Next story I want to get into here is, it reads, Celsius creditors move to block company from selling mined Bitcoin. This is another thing tied to Celsius. Celsius creditors have also filed a statement calling CEO Alex Mashinsky's assurances to customers empty and false promises. Celsius's network unsecured creditors have been pressing the company on potential misconduct by Celsius and its insiders. During a hearing in the Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceeding today, the committee moved to block Celsius's attempt to sell some of its mined cryptocurrency. Celsius Mining is the Bitcoin mining subsidiary of Celsius Network, the embattled crypto lender that filed for bankruptcy on July 13th. A day later, the mining operation joined its parent company in the bankruptcy filing. It was an abrupt development. In May, Celsius filed a draft registration with the with the SEC to go public. This week, attorneys representing the committee wrote in a court filing that they first need more insight into how Celsius's mined Bitcoin will be carried out and how the proceeds from the sale will be used. The company has previously said it will use its mining operation to pay back creditors and clients. In fact, at the start of the proceedings in July, Celsius got approval from the judge to spend $5 million to jumpstart its mining operation. But that's since drawn criticism from the U.S. Department of Justice and now the creditor committee. The committee also said it is launching a broad-ranging investigation and expects to invoke Bankruptcy Rule 2004. If approved by the judge, that rule would allow the kind of broad discovery process that could require interested parties to testify or produce documents in a process that's similar to a deposition in a civil lawsuit. So far, Celsius Network CEO Alex Mashinsky has already filed a declaration of more than 1,000 pages that documents each version of the company's terms of use for all of its products, all the way back to February 2018, right after Mashinsky became CEO. This week has been especially contentious for Mashinsky. On Monday, the Committee of Unsecured Creditors filed a statement calling out empty and false promises he made days before the company froze customer assets. Quote, Celsius's assurance turned out to be empty and false promises. On June 12th, 2022, less than a week after promising to dam the torpedoes, Celsius initiated a pause and halted all account holder withdrawals due to extreme market conditions. The attorney wrote in the statement, referring to a blog post that the crypto lender published just 5 days before it froze customer assets. Quote unquote, Celsius, which had previously championed its transparency, then largely went silent. In a press release announcing the filing, following its efforts to repay $1 billion in outstanding loans, Mashinsky said that he believed the filing would be a defining moment where acting with resolve and confidence serve the community and strengthen the future of the company. Listen, that is a load of garbage. I don't trust anything Alex Mashinsky says, dog. All of these people need to be in jail. Everything about the way they run these companies is shady. And now a bunch of I don't care too much about the major whales who might be tied to Celsius. Again, that's messed up. They're gonna get screwed too. But I'm more so concerned about, not again, because this isn't just about me. It's about all the regular people who might have had any amount of assets on Celsius, who now are at risk of losing their money, losing their assets. I don't trust anything Alex Mashinsky said, man. Like I said, it was just a good lesson to never do an airdrop on any other exchange. Only do it on a cold storage wallet, because that was just a complete waste of time, man. Doing that flare airdrop on Celsius. The next story I want to get into here reads: crackdown on Tornado Cash was just round one. Since Monday's crackdown on Tornado Cash, the DeFi sector is faced with a choice: remain proudly non-compliant or bend the knee. I'm just going to read a quick excerpt from this. This week, the US government shook the entire crypto to its core, the entire crypto world to its core. The Treasury Department sanctioned the crypto mixer Tornado Cash, as well as several crypto wallet addresses associated with the service. That means the protocol and its associated smart contracts are now blacklisted, making them illegal for Americans to use. Tornado is a privacy tool that lets users obfuscate where their funds have been and where they're going. Basically, it turns the transparency of blockchain technology into a black box, hiding your crypto activity. Treasury backed the move by indicating that the Lazarus Group, a hacker group with ties to North Korea, had been using the service to launder stolen crypto, most notably $96 million the group nabbed from the recent Harmony Bridge attack. In total, the Treasury said that the service has been used to launder more than $7 billion worth of virtual currency since its creation in 2019. So I'm not that familiar with Tornado Cash, but I had an awareness that these type of platforms exist. Obviously, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the crypto space adapts to it, and what do these platforms do from this point going forward, because I don't think they're going to be able to. First of all, I don't think most of these exchanges are as decentralized as they want to pretend like they are. I think most of these exchanges are pretty centralized, but they just, again, it's just good branding. Just like how a lot of artists in the 2010s, they would pretend like they were independent artists, that they weren't signed to major record labels. They kept literally lying. You had artists like Logic and others who literally would lie and just say that, oh yeah, I'm independent, I'm not signed to anybody, you know, F the label and all that. But come to find out, they were signed the entire time. So again, it's just something that you say to market, because they know stuff like that will make people more likely to get behind them, because they'll feel like it's like a grassroots kind of thing. But I mean, it is what it is. Again, we'll see what comes from that whole tornado fallout. Next story I want to get into here is from it's actually a post. It's a very cryptic, it's a slightly ominous post from BitBoy Crypto, and it reads, "I'm working on something huge, so big that it will permanently change crypto as we know it. We are going to be taking power from the ultimate gatekeepers in the United States government. That's all I could say for now." Now, I said that was slightly ominous, because just because he's saying that we're taking power, that doesn't mean he's planning on something that actually could, you know, benefit us as just regular people. But again, who knows? Maybe he has something cool up his sleeve. I don't know. I doubt it, but anything's possible. Next story I want to get into, and I have nothing against BitBoy, but it's still, you know, that's a different conversation. Who knows if he's telling the truth about anything? Could be blowing smoke. Next story here I want to get into is it's actually a clip from the Digital Asset Investor, which it's him talking about another clip from a popular YouTuber called Tech Lead, where he's essentially just exposing the fact that a lot of the people tied to the Ethereum ICO were using certain tactics to disguise what was really going on. And I just want to play that really quickly.
News coming in with the continued coverage on the complete betatization of Web3 and Ethereum with your host, ex-Google, ex-Meta Tech Lead. You know, I was taking a look through the GitHub repositories and I found this weird entity known as TRM Labs. If you don't know about them, better get familiar with them soon, because they basically run all of Ethereum. They run the show. It's kind of like if you were married, what TRM Labs would be like your wife's boyfriend. But going through the GitHub repository, you can see TRM Labs code in all of the popular DeFi apps. See, it's an Aave, Balancer Labs, Oasis Dex, it's in Uniswap, FTX, MakerDAO, DYDX Exchange, and so their trash code, the centralization has just spread through all of the DeFi apps. We can take a look at what this does actually. If you come into, for example, the Aave code, essentially they make a JavaScript API call to an address screening URL in which it returns whether the address is valid or not. If it's not valid, the entire UI interface is blocked. Quick pause, this video...
Okay, so basically, what he's getting at is that all this is controlled and tracked, okay, centralized. And then he says this.
And I think the problem here is Web3 became the very thing it sought to destroy. You got a lot of these large companies like USDC, Uniswap, Aave, DYDX, Balancer, FTX. They concentrated and centralized a lot of the liquidity in this space, and now they're running around calling the shots.
See, this is the reason we've been talking about those disguised whales from the ICO, is because that is where, that is everything. And these people want to move on to the merge and go off into the proof of stake, and they don't want it to ever be seen. That's what we're talking about, folks, because this was I'm telling you, they shouted decentralized from the rooftops. I've said it 1,000 times. They knew what they were doing. This was by design. Okay, and now they're trying to go off to the merge and say nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Meanwhile, you heard him mention Aave several times. Remember Aave? Aave is the hold on, I'll get to that in 1 second.
Okay, so the next story here is just a quick post here where it's talking about who the TRM investors are and who the TRM investors are and who they're tied to. And it's a post from Cowboy Crypto where where he's calling out Blockchain Capital, PayPal Ventures, Y Combinator, JP Morgan, Square, and Visa are some of the people tied to TRM. So it's definitely interesting at this from so many of these powerful things that are going on. It seems like everything, no matter what, leads back to JP Morgan. So I got some conspiracies that I would want to get into, but I'm gonna leave that alone. So next story I want to get into here is a post from CoinDesk, and it reads, SEC is looking into Coinbase token listing process. I should have said that with more emphasis. I'm gonna say it again. SEC is looking into Coinbase token listing process, staking programs, and yield generating products, according to the crypto exchange. But Coinbase believes these investigations will not negatively impact its financial condition. I think that's a load of garbage. I think it can, and I think it will. There's no guarantee Coinbase will survive any of the attacks that are about to happen to them. Maybe they will, and I've nothing. Well, I actually do have something against Coinbase because I've had some bad experiences, but I'm not like, I'm not like preying on their downfall necessarily, because I also have enough sense to understand the bigger impact that could cause to innocent investors. Unlike a lot of these same people who were preying on Ripple and XRP's downfall and preying on XRP investors' downfall, not realizing the bigger impact that could have, and that it has been having ever since. But even though it never officially fell, obviously, but it got completely suppressed because of the SEC lawsuit. It was suppressed for the time being. I think in the long term we're gonna be just fine. But it's definitely interesting that they mentioned that they're looking into Coinbase's token listing process. I've been saying for a while now, people overrate Coinbase listing coins. Now, obviously, I understand the Coinbase pump is real, but people act as if like, oh, Coinbase, I only trust coins that are listed by Coinbase. Like I heard Blockchain Backer, no offense to Blockchain Backer, but I thought this was a weird statement where he said that he only wants to invest in coins that are listed in Coinbase because, and again, I'm about to paraphrase, but he basically said that he believes that those coins are the ones that they were vetted out the most, and like they made sure this was a good idea to put on the exchange and blah blah blah, which I think was a load of crap. I don't think Coinbase's listing process is that deep. I think they just pick whoever they rock with or whoever they like or whoever they have ties to. I think they just pick, cherry pick certain projects and they go from there. But that doesn't mean that they actually have merit behind what they list. Because guess what? They listed Shiba Inu. Guess what? They listed Dogecoin. They listed meme coins just because they were meme coins. They were popular. They had a lot of money coming in. That doesn't now mean that, they're coins with respectable fundamentals behind it. But Coinbase didn't care. Why? Because Coinbase went public. Coinbase is only focusing on trying to make as much money as possible. There's no integrity behind that. But I'm going to end the video right there. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below.